and scholarships are just not part of the Aboriginal vocabulary, or to the salt pan at Lombardina in the Kimberleys, where Aborigines literally play with two saplings stuck in the ground in the middle of a salt pan. If he'd have looked at those sorts of conditions, he would have been looking at third and fourth world sporting facilities. Aborigines kicking a piece of leather stuffed with paper because they haven't got footballs. I think that the IOC would have had to have put in some very adverse recommendations, or at least said to the Australian government, we will think of you as a final bidding team on condition that you repair X, Y, Z. They didn't.
I took this photograph at Jay Creek in the Northern Territory in 1969. It was my first real glimpse of the other Australia. There was no decent housing, no running water, and the children were sick. Charlie Perkins, another Aborigine derided as a half-caste, was my guide. Charlie was already a great sportsman, who, like Wally MacArthur, found a kind of refuge in England, where he had a successful football career and was selected for trials at Manchester United by Matt Busby. Instead, he returned home and became only the second Aborigine to graduate from an Australian university and has spent his life campaigning for freedom for his people. We met again 30 years later in Sydney.
You've written very movingly about your growing up. What are the memories of those very early days that still remain vivid with you?
The discrimination's just awful. The police were controlling us. If we went into the town, we'd be arrested and brought back to the compound. They called it a reserve, but it was a compound. I mean, I went to a birthday party, and we were invited, but we had to stay outside at the windows. We handed in our little presents to them, and they handed the cakes out to us. And then I was the best cricketer in this team in Adelaide, but I couldn't go into the pub with everybody else. I had to stand outside a window. And I didn't drink, I just to get my lemon squash even. I wasn't allowed inside. Everybody else was. To me, I thought that was natural. That was the way it had to be. Then I thought, no, this is not right. You know, why shouldn't I be in there? And I told the publican off a couple of times through the window. I told them to get stuffed and a few other things. So I was even banned from being outside the window. And you'd have a passbook with somebody telling you that you were a good citizen. The policeman had to sign it and the priest. And if you didn't have the passbook on you, you'd be arrested. I know times were tough for everybody then, but it was really hard for Aboriginal people. And that's what really scars me. To my day, I can't forget that. I get up and I still dream about the compound. I still